to Christina's Craft Catchup episode 6. Gosh, up to 6 already. Sorry I haven't uploaded for a little while. Work has been really busy the past couple of weeks. I haven't been feeling very well or sleeping very well. I'm getting so sick of just laying awake all night for no reason. It's getting really tiring, and also it's boring because nothing happens at night. I don't know if you've noticed, but everyone else seems to be asleep. That's just like a party in my brain by myself. So I'm getting really tired, and maybe coming down with something now because of all of that. But anyhow, I have been doing a little bit of craft, not as much as I'd like because of everything, but let's see. Firstly, I bought this pattern. It's the Deer and Doe Bluet dress. I don't know how you pronounce that in French because it's French. The company is French. Bluet dress, Bleut, I don't know. But it's this pretty princess seamed dress with buttons down the front and a little bow detail at the back. And I'm using some navy polyester rayon or viscose, polyester viscose stuff. It was the only thing that I had enough of that was at least a little bit like what I wanted it to be. And it's navy blue. I still haven't even cut it all out. I traced all the pattern pieces off, and they're sitting over there. I can see it. They're sitting over there waiting for me to cut it out. But so this, hopefully, I'll get done sometime soon. I've got a busy weekend coming up, but anyhow, see how we go. Now, my V-neck cardigan that I'm knitting from a vintage pattern is coming along. So far, I've got a back and 2 fronts. They just look like worms because they're all rolled up. But it is a front. And I got 2 of them. And they are the opposites of each other. And we've got this nice moss stitch band at the bottom, which I love. So yeah, that's coming along. I'm up to sleeve number 1 now. And I'm about that far up the sleeve, and it's a long sleeve, so it's going to take another while still. It's a fine gauge, only 5 ply, and it's just taking a while. I'm quite happy doing it though, because it's quite relaxing actually to do something that is taking so long. I can really get into the project, not like these fast knits. So another thing I did today was I went to a craft and quilt fair in my town with my mum, and we go every few years, not every year, and there's a big display of quilts like that win competitions and stuff, and then there's all these stalls selling all sorts of craft things, mostly patchwork because, you know, it is the craft and quilt fair, so a lot of quilting and craft and patchwork sort of stuff, which I'm not personally interested in at all. I don't know how the shops survive when there are so many patchwork stalls, and I just don't know how they survive because there's just so many of them. But there were also a few interesting yarn stalls and other interesting kind of craft stalls. So I bought a couple of things, and oh dear, it's quite funny what I bought. This first skein is actually possum yarn, and I wish you could feel it. It's very squishy and soft. Oh, and it feels quite soft to the touch as well, and I can see that it's got a lot of hairiness to it, so there's a lot of fibers coming out of the yarn, and it's quite a hairy yarn. The lady said to me that after you knit it up and wear it a little bit, it gets a bit of a halo to it, which is quite fun. So I couldn't resist this. I just thought it was so interesting that there was this possum yarn. Now, in Australia, you cannot get possum yarn. You can't make possum yarn from Australian possums. They are protected. But this is from New Zealand. Oh, this is interesting. It says here, merino wool 60%, possum fur 30%. So it's only 30% possum, nylon 10%. Okay, I did not know that. I thought it was just possum. But I suppose the merino wool gives it more of strength and a bit more durability, whereas straight possum might be a little bit too fluffy. Anyhow, it feels really nice. It's just so squishy. So out of this, I thought I would make a little scarf type thing. It's hard to explain. It sort of goes like this. It threads through the other side and sits like this. It's like, almost looks like, no, not a bow tie. I'll link to it in the description. I forget what it's called. Miss Marple scarf or something. So anyhow, I think that's going to be really cute in this yarn, which will feel very nice when it's done. Very warm. Okay, so that's one thing I bought. The next thing I bought, this is another yarn, and this is only 4-ply, so quite thin. But this is Mongolian yak yarn. And I gotta tell you, this is the smoothest, softest yarn I've ever felt. Like this is squishy yarn. I can feel that that's going to have a lot of body to it. This isn't so squishy, but my goodness, it is so soft to the touch. I've never felt anything like it. It's incredible. It feels a bit like cotton, but it's got a little bit more wooliness to it, for lack of a better word. So I'm really excited about my Mongolian yak. So the yak is pretty exciting, and I don't know what I'm going to make with the yak yet. I'll think of something. Also, they only had brown, so brown, I don't wear much brown. Brown is the colour of poo, but brown is a nice colour. It's a nice autumny colour. It's also the colour of chocolate, which is much nicer. Yeah, we'll see. We will see what happens with that. Maybe I'll just feel it every now and again. Get it out and feel it. Right, so that's what I did at the craft show today. Now, I've been listening to a lovely podcast recently. I've been listening to one called Never Not Knitting, and it's hosted by a lady, Alana, who is a knitwear designer. And I love it because she has so many interesting stories and insights, and it's just such a nice podcast to listen to when I'm sitting around sewing or knitting or something. It's really relaxing. And the funny thing about that is that whenever she goes to a craft fair or something, she buys all kinds of ridiculous yarn as well. So when I was there looking at this possum and everything, and I bought the possum, and then I saw the yak, and I thought, I can't leave without the yak. The yak is just beautiful. I have to have it in my life. I felt like I was having an Alana moment because it's just something she would do, as far as I can see. So one more thing I bought at the show. I bought a book which is called 200 Fair Isle Motifs. And that's all it is, really. It's Fair Isle motifs. So if you flick through, you just see all these Fair Isle motifs. And I haven't really looked through it yet because, like, I just got home, so I haven't really looked through it yet. And the bookshop was so crowded. My goodness, they must make a killing at that bookshop selling craft books. I saw lots of interesting craft books there. There was Tilly's book, Love at First Stitch. I saw that, didn't buy it. I saw Gertie's new book for better sewing, and I didn't buy that either. I was very controlled, so yeah. Oh, there was a fantastic book called Tudor Rose, I think, and it was knitting patterns based on Tudor clothes, and it was just incredibly beautiful. Oh, those items were just spectacular. They were really something special. So I didn't buy that though. So whatever. Now, last thing, a friend from work, a lovely lady who was my friend at work, lent me her old knitting patterns. Now, she's probably a bit younger than my mum, probably in her 50s. So some of these knitting patterns are her mum's knitting patterns. But she lent me a bunch of lovely Fair Isle knitting patterns, and they're just so sweet. I really love them. And maybe I'll knit one of them or something. I'm going to photocopy them so that I can give them back. But they're just really sweet, and I've been enjoying just sitting at the table and poring over them because they're just so special. Most of them are knit with 3 or 4 ply yarn, so this one's 4 ply. So like it would take quite a while to knit this out of 4 ply yarn. But you'd end up with something very special afterwards, I guess. Let me think. One other thing is that my brother just had his birthday, and I said to him, oh, I didn't get you very much this year. Do you want to put in any orders for knitting or anything? And he told me he wants a Christmas jumper. So even though here at Christmas it's quite hot, it's summer, he wants a Christmas jumper. So I'm going to make him this jumper with reindeer and snowflakes on it. That's what he said he wants on it. So I'm going to use my Fair Isle Motifs book and these knitting patterns as well to come up with my own Fair Isle design for my brother's jumper. I've already got some like men's jumper patterns I can use, but I'm going to decorate them with starfish. Goodness, not starfish, snowflakes and reindeer. So that'll be fun. Yeah, so that's about all that's been happening. I'm just going to keep working on my little cardigan here. I can't wait till it's done, and keep working on designing my brother's jumper, and I'm going to actually start sewing my bluet dress as long as I can get it cut out satisfactorily. Okay, well that will do you for today. Sorry it's been so long. I'll try to do this on Fridays from now on. Oh dear. Okay, have a good week, and thank you for watching Christina's Craft Catch-Up. Bye!